Did you know that Vince McMahon owned a professional hockey team? Or that Los Boricuas had an ongoing influence on wrestling in Puerto Rico? Hi everyone! If you're a fan of WWE, then you won't want to miss this. Today we're going to explore some of the lesser known facts about the world's largest wrestling promotion. From Vince McMahon's failed hockey venture to the legacy of Los Boricuas, we have 10 minutes packed full of interesting facts you didn't know about WWE. Let's get started. Number 17. SmackDown was originally going to be an all-women show. In 1999, when WWE launched SmackDown, there were talks of it being a show exclusively for female performers. At the time, WWE was beginning to recognize the value in women wrestlers such as Chyna and Sable. Trish Stratus and Lita would soon debut for the promotion as well, further highlighting their value. It is not known how close WWE came to making SmackDown an all-women's show, but Vince Russo was the head writer for the company then and had the tendency of having women participate in more gimmick matches rather than actual wrestling contests. Though his approach did draw record ratings for WWE. It is an idea that has been suggested recently as well, but Triple H has stated that the company will not be taking that direction, preferring instead to have both male and female divisions on the same show. Number 16. Shane McMahon voiced Kaientai. In 2010, Funaki revealed a secret about his time in WWE during the Attitude Era. During some of the promos his team Kaientai did, they were overdubbed in English in a similar way as many martial arts movies are. At the same time, few knew who was providing the voice, but Funaki later revealed that it was none other than Shane McMahon. Apparently, all he and Taka Michinoku had been told to do was hold the microphone and don't actually speak. Funaki, of course, went on to become SmackDown's self-proclaimed #1 announcer while Michinoku was still going strong in NJPW as a member of Suzuki Gun. Number 15. WWE paid the Young Bucks to impersonate DX, then sued them. In 2008, WWE brought the Young Bucks to impersonate Triple H and Shawn Michaels on an episode of ECW. The segment was intended to tease a feud between DX and John Morrison and The Miz. At the time, few people knew who the Young Bucks were, but they eventually began utilizing many of the hand signatures and moves DX was famous for. Unfortunately, once they began using these trademarks in New Japan Pro Wrestling, WWE served them a cease and desist order. Last year, the company launched a lawsuit against the brothers regarding the frequent use of their trademark gestures. Number 14. Storyline involving Vince McMahon's brother. Ever since the tragedy of Chris Benoit, WWE fans wondered what would have been if Vince McMahon's controversial storyline gone ahead. It was set to involve a new character by the name of Roderick and be a huge addition to the McMahon family. Unfortunately, after the incident, this angle was dropped and 11 years later we still don't know where the story would have gone. Number 13. WWE's long-standing relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling. The relationship between WWE and New Japan Pro Wrestling, NJPW, goes back further than most wrestling fans know. In fact, Vince McMahon was responsible for promoting the legendary fight between Antonio Inoki and Muhammad Ali in the United States. What's more, Vince allowed Chris Jericho to compete in an NJPW match, which some found surprising. However, given their long-standing relationship, it shouldn't come as any shock. It's possible that this may be changing though, with NJPW now running events in the United States and the McMahon family reportedly looking to purchase the company. Number 12. John Laurinaitis and the Bella family. The marriage of John Laurinaitis and the mother of the Bella twins has created an incredibly unique family tree. This means that he's not only stepfather to Daniel Bryan and soon to John Cena too, but his brother Road Warrior Animal is suing WWE over long-term concussion impacts while Daniel Bryan is doing the opposite. It's a totally strange situation that makes for some interesting conversations at the dinner table. It doesn't help that John is technically recruiting his stepchildren into WWE either. All in all, it's an unusual family affair. Number 11. Sting and The Undertaker wrestled before. Many wrestling fans have dreamed of seeing Sting versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania, but that dream has now been put to rest as both wrestlers are retired. Little did fans know, though, the two had actually squared off in the ring before, all the way back in 1990. During an NWA World Heavyweight Championship match held in Greensboro Coliseum, Sting managed to defeat Undertaker, known as Mean Marcus Callis in WCW, and take the title. Unfortunately, their match wasn't televised, leaving many people unaware that it even happened. But nevertheless, it was still a historic moment for wrestling fans. Number 10. Shane McMahon almost bought the UFC. Former WWE executive Shane McMahon shocked everybody when he resigned from the company in October 2009. In December, it came to light that Shane was in serious talks to become a major investor in the UFC. It had also been suggested that he wanted WWE to promote mixed martial arts, but the suggestion was voted down as the company felt the history with sports entertainment would reduce credibility. Sadly, Shane's vision never came to fruition as the UFC was instead sold to WME for $4 billion. Number 9. Vince McMahon wanted to fight Dana White on PBV. It has been reported that Vince McMahon once called UFC President Dana White and asked if they could fight either in the UFC or at WrestleMania. Dana White refused the offer and said Vince McMahon was too old for fighting anybody. Despite this, a cordial relationship between the two companies has been maintained in recent years. Number 8. WWE almost fired John Cena. John Cena nearly got the axe from WWE back in 2002. His rookie year on the main roster was met with a lot of doubt and skepticism, but Stephanie McMahon saved him from being fired by vouching for his potential. Little did anyone know at the time that Cena would go on to become one of the most recognizable faces in WWE history. Number 7. Papa Shango is based on a real voodoo god. The WWE's Papa Shango character was actually based off a real voodoo god known as Baron Samedi. Not only did the costume and makeup of Papa Shango resemble that of Baron Samedi, but his top hat also served as a homage to him. According to voodoo tradition, Baron Samedi is a god who helps lost souls cross over to the afterlife, and also enjoy smoking cigars and drinking. Number 6. Bob Backlund wouldn't job to Hulk Hogan. When Vince McMahon Jr. took the reins of his father's company, one of his first goals was to put the world title on Hulk Hogan. But this wasn't possible in Hulk's previous workplace, American Wrestling Association, AWA, as he didn't have an extensive wrestling background. Bob Backlund, the then champion, was unwilling to lose the title to Hogan. Eventually, Backlund dropped the title to the Iron Sheik, who had extensive experience in amateur wrestling and an impressive record as the coach for the American team. The Sheik then proceeded to drop the title to Hogan. Number 5. The wellness policy applies to everyone. WWE has a strict wellness policy in place that applies to everyone associated with the company, including referees. Mike Chioda faced a suspension after failing a drug test in 2011, and Billy Gunn was terminated due to testing positive for elevated levels of testosterone during an amateur weightlifting competition. His failed test had nothing to do with WWE, but he was fired all the same as an example to younger wrestlers. Number 4. Legacy of Los Boricuas. Los Boricuas, a faction of Puerto Rican wrestlers led by Savio Vega in the Attitude Era, had a significant impact on wrestling in Puerto Rico. Despite disbanding shortly after Vega left WWE in 1998, the group continues to make reunions and recruit new members. In 2013, a tribute show for Los Boricuas was held by Perfect Stars Wrestling in Puerto Rico, and Vega returned to the faction. The Caribbean Express, an offshoot of Los Boricuas, reappeared in 2014 under World Wrestling Council, WWC. Unfortunately, DOA has not been remembered as fondly amongst the biker community. Number 3. Vince McMahon's promotion of Antonio Inoki versus Muhammad Ali. 8 years before the first WrestleMania, Vince McMahon promoted the famous match between Antonio Inoki and Muhammad Ali in both Japan and the United States. Although there are conflicting reports on what exactly happened during this fight, it was still a major financial success for McMahon. Ali's team claimed they had signed on for a real fight, while Inoki's team said otherwise. In the end, the match was called a draw as Inoki landed some legitimate kicks on Ali. Number 2. Vince McMahon's failed hockey venture. Many would never believe Vince McMahon owned a professional hockey franchise at one point in his life. However, it is true that McMahon owned the Cape Cod Buccaneers of the Atlantic Coast Hockey League for one season in 1981. Unfortunately, due to financial issues, the league voted to end the season early and Vince cut ties with the league and folded the team before postseason could begin. Number 1. The failure of the World Bodybuilding Federation. While bodybuilding is still a popular sport today, Vince McMahon's venture into bodybuilding was not as successful. His World Bodybuilding Federation, WBF, lacked success due to competitors' inability to stay off steroids. As Vince McMahon was already facing federal trial for distributing steroids, he quickly disbanded the promotion and distanced himself from anything steroid related. This ultimately led to the failure of his bodybuilding venture. It's clear that WWE has had a long and storied history with many interesting facts, from Vince McMahon's failed hockey venture to the legacy of Los Boricuas. In just 10 minutes, we've explored some little-known facts about the world's largest wrestling promotion. Thanks for tuning in to this video and learning about some of the lesser-known facts about WWE. Be sure to stay tuned for more fun facts about the world's largest wrestling promotion. See you next time.